So now I'm going to show you how to construct a basic wire armature. This will be that stick figure style armature, and we'll talk about making a bulkier armature later. So this style of armature is really good to use with air dry clay. So I've cut some lengths of wire thinking about the parts of the creature that I'm going to make. So I've thought about the legs or feet, about the tail, about the arms, and about the body and head. So I'm going to start from the base and then build up so that my sculpture can remain balanced and self-supportive. So I'm going to think about the base that I want to have, where it touches the bottom, and I'm going to think about the shape of the feet that I want this creature to have. I'm going to give myself a little extra here to double back on itself so that I can fold this wire around and anchor it here. And again, this is going to get covered entirely, so I'm not super worried about making pretty wraps right now. I'm going to fold it over and do roughly the same sized item on the other side for his little foot. And remember, of course, if I need to, I can take and use my file to smooth down some sharp spots. So I've got, what I'm going to say his legs are, as kind of a nice little base form to sit on. So I'm going to think then about his body. And I'm going to actually, for his body, I'm going to double it up because I want to create a little bit more bulk with his body. So to connect this, I'm going to pull this snug, and I'm actually going to wrap it a couple times because I don't want this to come undone. Okay, and after I wrapped a few times, I'm going to squish it so it's more flat so he still can sit on that hind portion of him. And then I'm actually just going to I'm going to think about this like it's his spine. And I'm going to take and I'm going to roll this all the way up till it becomes the spine of the creature that I am making. How high do I want him to be? Let's see, he's going to be about that tall maybe. I'm actually going to bring it up a little longer than I think I need because I'm going to bring it up and it's going to, maybe a little bit longer. This is going to then turn into his head. So I could just continue out and continue doing a line, but I'm actually going to give a little shape to his head. So I'm just going to twist these two ends together, kind of fold them back on themselves to lock it into place. And then I'm going to go ahead and shape his head roughly how I want it to look. Now this creature does have a tail, so I'm going to, actually I think I was going to use this for the tail. I'm going to go ahead and have his tail anchor here as well. Now I am doing a lot of this with my hands because again this is a very soft armature wire, which is perfectly fine for many materials, especially in this case using that air dry clay, since air dry clay does not have a lot of mass. If I was doing something that was going to have a lot of weight to it, I would probably want to use a sturdier wire, but for everything we're using, you should be totally fine with a soft wire. Just gonna twist those together. Give it a nice little squeeze. And I'll come back here, give that one more twist. Alright, so with the addition of his tail, he's become a lot more self-balanced, self-stabilizing. I can also play with the curve of his spine to balance him. I'll also have to think about balance, well, as he falls over. I will have to think about his balance as I continue to add limbs and things. So, and also as I continue to add like mass with his body or with the clay. Alright, so he's got his little arms here. Still fairly well balanced. I think the last thing I want to do before I start adding any clay is maybe bulk out his head just a little bit more. So I'm going to need just a smidge more wire. Alright, so I'll tip him over a little so you can see, but I've got my armature here ready to go, and next all I need to do is start adding the clay.